I've been a Giants fan for 42 years. That's number one. This has been a breath of fresh air to see Tommy DeVito, a young dude that's from 10 miles away from the stadium. If you're not familiar with the story, let me lay it on you a little bit, some of the factoids of this. You got this young man, Tommy DeVito. I knew about him because I know about University of Illinois football, and he played for them and actually got them to a bowl game. Generally speaking, Illinois' football program is at the bottom of Big Ten, and they normally don't have a winning season, and Tommy DeVito helped them to have, I think, at least 2 winning seasons. So a lot of people that are in New York and maybe Giants fans or people across the United States that are Giants fans don't realize that this gentleman played at a fairly high level and was pretty intense of a player at Illinois. And now he's bringing some of that attitude, bravado, sense of self, sense of team to the New York Giants through the most inexplicable set of circumstances. You got Daniel Jones. He's from the old regime. Mr. Mara, God bless him and Mr. Tisch, they want to give Daniel Jones a chance. They turn around and pay him essentially what would be $40 million a year and a $160 million contract. Kind of unheard of for the stat lines that were behind Daniel, but he had 2 or 3 different head coaches in the period of time that he has been there. Personally, I felt like they needed to couple their negotiation process at the end of the year with Saquon Barkley, that was such an integral part of the Giants offense, and Daniel Jones, where it would have ended up being that Daniel Jones would have got around $30 million for a 3-year contract, and Saquon Barkley would have gotten somewhere between $15 to $18 million a year in a 3-year contract, because he wants to do his full career as a Giant. And for all the sacrifices and the great plays and the plays that were integral to last year, us making it to a playoff game and winning that playoff game, that was the way that they should have negotiated it, and it would have been much better for everybody. And even if everything else stayed the same to what was going to occur, which was Daniel Jones getting hurt, being out for the rest of the year this year, Tyrod Taylor getting hurt, I think that you would have a better sense of energy around the football club. Having said that, we are where we are, and we have Tommy DeVito. We got the hey, what are you doing? And let's manja, and everything that goes with this. His family, all the Italianos in North Jersey and people in New York that are loving Italian or no. You gotta love an underdog story of a young man that's third stringer and has won 3 games in a row, with now just out of the fact that he has done well and starts to understand, he's learning on the fly. There's a possibility. I'm sure that the probably Vegas odds makers are going to give New Orleans probably the edge, especially at home, especially against a third string quarterback. Quite sure they're going to be bringing some exotic rushes on him and try to disguise them as they look at game tape of some of the stuff that he does. But I have a great confidence in this young man to step up and make plays. And I pray and hope that there's some way that we could win that game against New Orleans and then get ourselves ready for what is a ridiculous AI-induced schedule, which has us playing Philly as the team that's the strongest team in the league practically, although they showed a little weakness and got exposed a little bit in their last game. And then the Rams, and then the Eagles again. But the playoff hope, as dim as it is, there's still a little bit of light there. And the energy and positivity that's around the New York Football Giants has been super enjoyable. I got a few guys that I follow on YouTube that have comments about the New York Giants. I really like some of the content they put out. The great Chuck Knox. He's one of my favorites. I highly recommend even if you're not a New York Giants fan, Chuck Knox videos are just hilarious. Then I got a guy, I'm not even going to saying his name right, but you'll find him because all of his videos say F-U. Fisk Unit. That's the brother. And this guy is a maniac. I like to talk to him about his opening sequence sometimes, but it is what it is. Carl Banks is one of my favorite Giants, and he has a big presence around the Giants organization. He has some shows. He does some podcasts. He does some various things along with the Giants organization. And he has a very good data-driven and technical thoughts about what's taking place on the field. And I laugh because sometimes I'm up here freaking out. And because the man played the game as a Super Bowl a man who's got a Super Bowl ring under Bill Parcells, played with Lawrence Taylor. The man is amazing. And you go back and look at some of his videos of when he was playing. But he makes a lot of good points about what is going on with the New York Giants as an organization, and individual points about what the key things that certain players need to do in their position in order to be successful. If you want to listen to a guy that knows football and is not going to give you a bunch of hokum and give you the real straight dope on what's taking place with the team, you will want to listen to Carl Banks. And I shout out to that brother also because he has a line of clothing, and he had Ed Lover, and it escapes me who else he had on there. But they were talking and showing the new starter jackets, and the new Giants starter jackets are the bomb. So I would tell you to really look into Carl Banks' clothing line and look into the new starter jackets because you'll really like them. Okay, next thing. And this guy, I don't know how it happened that a guy could be such a psychopathic Giants fan, and I believe he lives in Tennessee, and that is the great Kyle Pizzle. And I just want to give a shout out to Kyle Pizzle and say, yo, keep it going. And I think if I can make the joke, you missed a spot on the wall for some Giant swag. There's like one little tiny spot you missed. You might want to check that out. From my viewing angle, I see this one spot that doesn't have some Giant swag in it. You need to fix that, dude. All right? Now, you also got some really good video that is put up by the team after the win. And you'll get to see more interactions that you would otherwise see from NFL films or from other media sources in terms of what took place in the game. So if you look on and you put the New York Giants versus their last game against the Green Bay Packers, there's going to be a video that's done by the actual Giants organization. I think it's powered by Creston. And you get to see some of the interactions on the sideline, which are pretty good. I also want to say a little something to a guy that I have loved and have a great respect for as a former Giant, and that is Tiki Barber. Yo, dude, don't be such a hater, man. I listened to you the other day. You're talking with the guys. You got Evan on there. Evan is liking the Giants as a Jets fan better than you're liking the Giants. Give the kid a break. He came from third string to make some moves here and give the Giants a little life. And you're up here talking about the cutlets and the family and this and that. Yeah, that's happening too. But like Evan says, they can coexist together, Tiki. I know you like to be Debbie Downer, but, give us a break and maybe give a little hope as a former Giant that the kid could actually make good and do some extra stuff, all right? He's not the starter. He's the third stringer stepping in as a starter and winning games. So give him a break already. And then there's also a show called Talking Giants. Now, I want to give them a shout out too because they do a really good job. And I like the way they do some of their stats. And love some of the old school Giant beat reporters as well. There's a really nice video with Steve Serby. And he works for the Post. And he was talking about meeting with the father and meeting with Tommy DeVito's agent, who they did a split screen. He looks a lot like the guy that Mike sent out to take everybody down. He was dressed the same way, and in The Godfather. But anyway, I'm going crazy here. I'm loving the fact that there's this new breath in the Giants organization. I'm hoping that maybe when we start out next year and Daniel Jones is a starter, he can maybe have a few cutlets and have a little chicken parm and loosen up a little bit and make some things happen. I clearly think it's going to end up being that it'll be Daniel Jones, it'll be Tommy DeVito as the number 2, and Tyrod Taylor if he's still going to continue for another year, because Tyrod Taylor's got 12 years in, and he's had a lot of injuries through the years. Great player, got a lot of respect for him. I love the way he plays the game. I think it would have been a different thing in his career if he hadn't had the injuries that he had. But you know what? The New York Giants is a family, brother, and we all stick together. And there's some really great videos and things going on around the organization. Victor Cruz is there. Sean O'Hara's there. Of course, you got the driest 2 individuals on the face of the planet that are literally like dry cereal on dry bread in a dry desert, which is the Manning brothers. If you get a chance, you want to look up Mike Tyson in a promo for their show going, "You two have the most punchable faces I've ever seen in my life," which was hysterical. That's really it. Let's go New York Football Giants. Let's do this thing. Let's go Tommy DeVito. Go get your chicken parm.